Hello everyone, welcome today to Mark Knoll Horsemanship. Here we are got a treat for you today. Here we are with Lily. Lily is our 5.5-month-old weanling that we just weaned a week ago. She is up for your consideration. Lily had never had any hands-on. We hemmed her up in the corner when she was 3 months old or so and gave her a dose of dewormer. But other than that, she's never been handled, and we've only had her in here a week. Now, don't fool yourself or kid yourself and think that it wasn't a little bit of a chore to get her this this way to where you could be around her. We've been working on her for about a week, and I just want to reverse and go back in time a few days ago and tell you how I got to this point. Is when I first started approaching her, I would come in and I would just simply take a rope and I would sit and throw it at her legs, at her feet. And that just got her used to a rope being thrown towards her. And I go somewhere with that, is the reason I'm telling you this. So after you get them used to a rope just being tossed at them and around them, and then eventually you can take that rope and you can start tossing her across their back. Once I get that rope to where I can pull it off, toss it across, pull it off. Now don't kid yourself. She was, bouncing off the walls, and it sounded like I was in here, trying to kill her. But I'm just letting you know how I like to do things with weanlings. Now, a lot of people would say, wouldn't it be easier to handle them as a small foal with their mama? Well, easier would be, yes, would be the right word. But I'm after the mind. I think handling them too much. I've got horses in as 2-year-olds that had been over-humanized, and they have no respect for you. You can't even get them to move their feet when you start working them in a pen. So they have no kind of respect for you at all most of the time. So I like to limit the handling of these foals and these even as weanlings. So after I got that rope across her, I drawed it around and kind of made it like a lariat around her neck, just to where I could pull her to me. And of course she fought it and reared up a couple times, and I wouldn't just hold her. Finally I worked my way up the rope and got to where I could touch her, just like that. Now this is only after 3 days. Now, it's been a week that I weaned her, but after I initially got my hands on her, this is only the 3rd day of that. So I'm trying to tell you the good mind that she's got, and that comes from her sire and her dam. And there'll be a copy or a photo of their registration papers in a comment below this video. And there's videos of the stallion, recent videos of the stallion, of me saddling him. I was just kind of playing with him one day in the barn. He hadn't been saddled in a long time, and there's a video of me doing that. And then if you scroll down, there's another video of her with her mama in the barn, and when she was still with her mama before we weaned her, talking about the dam. So there's your 2 videos to go on. If you can't find them, just contact me, but they're on this web page. You just got to scroll down. Now right here, she's just curious, but I can't allow her to start nibbling and stuff, so I'm just going to bump her off of me and create a barrier right here and say, hey, I've got a line right here in my mind that you can't cross. I don't mind you sniffing, but when they go to nibbling like that right there, I'll just bump her a little bit. All she's doing is what you call horsing, playing. But hey, I'm not a horse, and she can hurt me. So I'm just going to keep bumping her off of me. Matter of fact, I'll just totally get her to move her feet. Don't care for that. Now, I'm going to get her back here to where you can see her a little bit better. And I'm going to show you how I approach these foals after I get a halter on them. Now, she's only had a halter on. Today's the 3rd time. So after I get them back here to where I'm in a better position to work with them, then I'll just slowly walk up. And I always walk up to the withers. I don't go to their head. I walk up to the withers, and I just start petting her to let her know I'm not a threat. And then I've got her acquainted with this. When I had the neck rope around her and was working with her, I would take that rope and put it around her head like a halter. The first few days I started doing it with just the rope around her neck. So she got acquainted to this, and she couldn't stand any kind of rubbing on her head or her forehead or around her ears, and I got her to accept that first. You got to get their head handled because that's where the halter goes. So after I got all that accomplished by handling her head, then I simply got her acquainted with putting a halter on her. Now I'm different. I do not like to leave. Now this is 3 days, folks, of putting a halter on her. This is the result you'll get. And plus she's just got a good mind. I mean, that has a lot to do with it. It ain't all me. It's the horse. And that comes from the sire and dam. So, but not all of them's different. But after I do that, I don't leave a halter and a catch rope on them. I don't believe in them. You might say, well, why not, Mark? Because the catch rope, when they step on it, and some people make it short enough to where they can't step on it. Well, I still do not. See right there, she bit at my belt. I don't mind to give her a little love tap on the nose and say that's not acceptable. But right back on course of what I was talking about, the reason I don't leave a catch rope on them is because when they step on it, it sends them the wrong kind of signal to that halter, and it's too much pressure. You know, they don't know how to handle that. And I could go into grave detail about that, but I'll leave it alone for now. But I have seen horses that have had catch ropes on, and they respond to pressure differently. So I'm real particular about this. This is the beginning stages of her life of pressure and release. And I like that release to be on time and everything. And with a catch rope, it's not always, they learn to fight. And I've seen horses that are panicked by pressure because they got trapped with their own foot being on a catch rope, and it left a bad memory in their head. So I like to do it several times. I'll walk back up again. And I always like to go just like this. This is catching her or older horse. I like to have my coils on my arm. I like to have the nose band in my hand and the pole piece in my hand. And I like to go under the neck, just like right here, under the neck, grab the pole piece, put the nose piece on, just let her kind of halter herself right there, slip it over her nose, tie my halter on, and I'm ready to start working with her. I like to take this extra piece and weave it down in, twist it down in behind the jaw piece here, just so it ain't flopping around. So once I get that done, I come in here, and this is only 3 days. Now what I'm after it when I start working with a foal is the same thing. Let me loosen this halter up just a touch. Got a little carried away there. It's a little too high on her nose. I don't care for that. Right there, that's a little bit better. So what I like to do, and I've been more successful at, is getting, instead of standing out here pulling on her and carrying on, I like to get that hip first. So I'm going to step in here, and I'm going to get this hip to cross over, just like right there and right there. And then I'll reward her for that. And I like to do a lot of rubbing on these babies. And I don't mean petting. There's a difference between petting and rubbing with intent. Petting is when you just spoil them and pet them, and I'm rubbing with a purpose, with a reason. I'm not rubbing to spoil. So I like to rub them here just to get them used to my hand being on them. This is only a week of being weaned and only 3 days of actually getting a halter on her. So this is pretty good. So right here, I'm going to do that again. Look, she's automatically knowing that I'm going to ask her to yield that hindquarter. Why am I after the hindquarter on such a small, beginner here, on a foal, on a weanling? It's because the hindquarter is what I'm after with this size or this age on up to a draft horse, if you will, because it has nothing to do with the size or the age, but the hindquarter is where the power comes from to do whatever they do. So I want to get control of the hindquarter. So again, I'll rub right here. I like to do things in threes. I'm not saying it's magical. I'm not saying there's anything to it. I've just always did things in threes. So I've got her to yield her hindquarter twice, and I've walked up to her and rubbed her. So I'm going to ask her to do it one more time. And let me tell you about the feel that I got on the rope. You can see I'm not grabbing. I'm not holding on. I've got a good feel. I'm light, but I'm effective. A lot of people just don't have good feel, and that's not your fault necessarily, but you need to pay attention to that. Good feel and timing is everything when it comes to teaching these weanlings. So right there, I did it in threes. Now I'm just going to go back here. What you do to one side, hey, you should always do to the other. This side, she's a little bit more resistant on, but not too bad. So I'm waiting on that hip. Yes, I'm pulling on her nose, but I'm waiting on this hip to what? To cross over and yield, just like right there. She's a little bit less apt to give you that on this side, but that's okay. She still did pretty good. So I'll walk in here again and I'll rub her. And while I'm rubbing her, I want you to know that the angle of this camera is probably going to make her look littler than what she really is. This is a fine looking filly. This video is not going to do her justice. I tell you what I'll do. I'm getting ready to turn her outside after I get done, and I'll video that as well, and I'll link it. I'll add them together, and that way you can see her outside, because she is going to look a little bit different in here, because I've got my Bailey, my videoer girl. She's up on a little perch that I rigged up for her. See, right here now. There comes the front end. I don't want the front end. So I'm going to push on this hip right here. And I'm going to try to encourage that hip to what? To disengage right there. Just like that. And once you show them a few times, they start to understand. Now on these fillies and these young horses, you got to watch for a little kick. You can see her kind of smooshing that tail around. There ain't no flies out today. There it comes. She's just protesting a little bit. So there's twice. Now she does have a fly on her. I told a fib on her. She does have something bothering her. So she wasn't as agitated as I thought. So, but anyway, there's twice of coming in here and yielding the hindquarters and then rubbing with intent, with purpose, not to pet, to get her used to being handled and touched. So right there was twice. We'll go in here and we'll get to that. Now comes that hindquarter. Ain't that nice? Now, let me show you what the results of that does. See, now I've got a tool to put in my tool shed. What is that tool? The yielding of the hindquarters. Why do I need it? Well, right here now, when I ask her to walk forward, off of that pressure, to lead forward, if she doesn't give it to me, right there it is. If she doesn't give it to me, then I'll unstick her. I'll get in her mind and unstick her feet by going to the hindquarter. So now I've got a tool. But if I wouldn't have started with the yielding of the hindquarters first, I wouldn't have this tool that I so desperately need in times of dilemma and to get back into her mind again. So right here, I'll just gently pull on her right here. We got a pretty loud trailer going by. We'll let that pass, because you can see her ears are not on me, they're on that noise. So after that passes, I'll just ask her to step forward again off the pressure. Now look at there. She's already learning to lead. Now we'll yield the hindquarters here, because I'm running out of room going that way. That's one of the reasons I built this barn the way I did. I like these long stalls. These stalls here are 22 feet long, and I think 10 feet wide. I'm not sure about that. They're 10 or 12 wide. I think it's 12 wide, but they're 21 feet long, 22 feet long. And you got room to work with these babies in here. So now I'm just going to ask her to come off of that. Pressure forward right here. You can see her wanting to resist, but you notice I'm not just hard down pulling her. I want to get her to where she comes to it softly. Now you'll hear me talking about the 10 in some of my videos. And this is a 10 for her. In other words, a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being light pressure, 10 being pretty hard pressure. Well, for her, I'm doing the 10 because that's pretty good pressure right there on her pole. I'm doing the 10 from the start with, from the beginning. I don't believe in starting with 1 and working up to 10, because that teaches them to push against it and lean against it. So I'm going to rub her right here again, and I'm going to yield her hindquarter, and we're going to go again down through here, just teaching this filly to lead, just like right here. Now, ultimately, now listen to me, ultimately, what I'm doing right here, I'm also teaching her to tie. How, Mark? Well, I'm teaching her to give the pressure. Everybody wants to teach a horse how to tie, a foal or a weanling how to tie. You yield this hindquarter here. And really what they should be doing is not teaching it to tie to a wall and letting them fight. They need to learn how to teach them to give the pressure coming forward like I was just doing. And ultimately, you're teaching them to tie, because they'll remember when they're tied one day, when you finally do start to tie, if I just come off of this pressure, it goes away. Now, the only thing you'll deal with tying is patience, but you won't have to deal with the pullback issue most of the time. So right there, we're teaching her to tie. So that's pretty good with her. I'm really I'm really pleased with her progress. Today's the 3rd day of doing this. Actually, you know what? I lied. Didn't mean to, but let's see. Let me ask Bailey, when did I send that picture of Mommy with her halter on? Was it just yesterday or day before?
I can't remember.
I think it was just yesterday. I think today's the 2nd day of putting a halter on her, which is pretty neat. Only the 2nd day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yesterday. I got the halter on her for the first time yesterday, and this is the results. Ain't that pretty cool? And it's because, first off, of the mind. She's got a good mind. So does her mom, and so does her sire. The dam and the sire both have very good minds. Second off, I'm experienced. I've done all sorts of babies before, weanlings. Man, I don't know how many weanlings I have taught to lead. Now, I used to do it a little bit differently in the past, but that's neither here or there. Now, let's get this hindquarter right here working pretty good. We got to hold her up in the front end, because this way she's not as apt to give me her hindquarter. So I'm just going to keep bumping right here and keep clucking and get that right there. That hindquarter finally stepped across. So that lets me know that as long as she's with me, that I'll have to keep on working on this side and trying to get it better. But again, that's how you unstick the feet of a foal, of a weanling. Now, talk about working with them. Right now's a good time to leave her alone. Now's a good time to go and just, they can't handle too much. There's no sense in just staying in here and rubbing all over them all day. Look, she's getting better with my touch. You can see her. She can handle me out of both eyes, and I work on that a lot, because you'll see one side of the horse better than the other sometimes, and I try to eliminate that right from the start. So you can see she's getting good with that. And her wanting to smell me and stuff is curiosity, and I like that. I like her wanting to be curious. But if you don't watch, it turns into a bite, then a bite turns into a bad habit. So I'm just always conscientious. You can sniff me, but the moment I feel lips starting to peter-patter around, like right here, I'll just let her sniff me. But there's still a fine line of how much I'll let do. So like right here, she goes to bite, I just bump her. Not a big deal. Hey, you're not going to make them head shy. And then I'll go right back and I'll rub that away. I'll be like, look, I'll rub that away and be nice to you, but you can't bite me. And she's just testing the waters. It's what she would do to another horse. But from this day forward, she has to know that what she would do to another horse, she can't do to the human. So I hope you enjoyed that. There'll be a copy, a picture of the sire and dam's papers in a comment below this video. And I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to let her go. We're going to let her outside. And if Bailey wants to keep videoing that, she can. And we'll show y'all what she looks like outside. She's got a fly on her here. And because this video in here where Bailey's up high, it makes her look a little bit different. So I may just actually take the phone from Bailey now. Thank you, my dear. And I'm going to turn her out here and let y'all see her outside. And she'll be, you can see her at a different angle here. Baby, if you'll get down and take that board down. So she'll look a little bit different out here, and she's got to go over here and see her buddy. And I'm going to push her. I'm just going to push her away so y'all can see her here just a little bit and let you look at her outside, because she's a whole lot nicer looking out of the stall at the angle that she was being videoed on. Elvis, here's her sidekick down here. Elvis is usually out. They both go out in this lot right here during the day. I think I'll go ahead and turn Elvis out, because all she's going to do is stay near him. She's not going to go away. Here comes old Elvis. Elvis, all he wants to do is go back to his hay. And Elvis is good for her because he warns her off, teaches her the pecking order, like right there. A lot of people wouldn't allow that to happen, but I think it's good for these babies. They need to learn the pecking order. So but there's Lily outside. Like I said, everything, if you want to know pricing and all that, you'll have to maybe private message me and let me tell you the price of her, the asking price that we're asking for on that way, because Facebook has a tendency to want to kick you off of here if you try to, you know, put the price on it on something. So don't understand that, but that's neither here or there today. But there's Lily outside. Ain't she beautiful? She's gonna be a gray, pretty sure. Maybe not. I don't know what else she would be by the looks of her coloring the way she's starting to do now. But her mama's gray and her daddy's cremello, and she don't need to spill the work that I've already done. But there she is. Elvis, do you want to say hello? This is Elvis. He's my wife, sort of my wife's horse, I guess. Really, he Elvis hadn't been paid for yet. I need to get with he's kind of ours, but I need to get with the previous, or still really the rightful owner of him, and get that worked out. But anyway, Elvis is a good horse. We think he's Morgan. We're not sure, but pretty nice pony. But anyway, Elvis, this is not about you, Elvis. Okay, sorry. This is about Lily. But there she is. So if you want to talk to me in further detail about her, you can contact me. My number will be on here as well. And we appreciate y'all watching, and God bless.